Hey, good afternoon, everyone. We're gonna give it a minute here to let a couple people join the group so that we don't, start too soon. But we'll get started here in a second. Awesome. So, guys, I am super excited about this conversation that we're about to have with Mandy and Casey. So, they are two wedding photographers in Canada, it's specifically in Winnipeg, and they put together this awesome workshop that serves wedding photographers, but specifically second shooters. Basically, anybody that is looking to get into the industry or just kind of sharpen their second shooter skills, know what to expect, how to best meet the needs of the lead shooter that they're working with. So we're going to dive into that in a second. But Mandy, Casey, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're doing this and all that.
Hi, I'm Mandy.
I'm Casey. Just like Nathan said, we are predominantly wedding photographers out of Winnipeg, Canada. I'd say I feel like the answer changes all the time.
We keep saying this.
What did we decide on? Like 7 years?
We've both been in it about 7 years.
Yeah.
Sometimes 6, sometimes 8,
but we don't really know.
Somewhere around 7 years we've been shooting weddings.
Yeah, so long time, full time. We have about hundreds under our belt, and I feel like the Second Shooter Bootcamp really came about this year in the busiest wedding season of the year. We just had the hardest time finding solid second shooters, and the ones that we've been relying on for the past couple of years are now way too busy with their own weddings to second shoot with us. So it's kind of just been, finding those people that really want to dive into the industry but are super green, and kind of teaching them what we know so that they can come fully prepared on a wedding day. Am I missing anything?
Yeah, no, that's how it came about.
So did it go right from like knowing that there were people that wanted to get hired and then creating like a resource for that, or was there some sort of in-between stage?
I think kind of how it went, pretty much.
Yeah, I'd say like maybe a little bit of both. I feel like there has always been plenty of people, offering up their services and willing to work with us, and we've known that they are there. But then in talking to them, it's like, I shoot with, a Canon Rebel, and I've never been to a wedding before, but I am in. And you're like, well, shit. Hard. This is not really going to work. So how can we take these people that are super eager and then get them where we need them to be, their first kind of step out of the gate, as opposed to having to train them and teach them throughout the wedding day, because no one has time for that.
And we've talked for a long time about wanting to get into the education realm of things. And then we just saw an opportunity and we're like, let's get on this. I think we need it. Our community here needs it. And it kind of seems like everywhere needs it, especially this year and next year.
And we tried to look for it and it didn't exist. So it kind of just gave us the perfect opportunity to create exactly what we wanted and what we needed for
selfishly.
Our people.
No, absolutely. It's about solving your own problems. We launched Shoot With Me because it was a pain in the butt to find and hire help for jobs. And you post on Facebook and, like you said, 1 million people comment and they're like, pick me. And you have no way to actually know whether or not they know what they're talking about or how to do what they do. Obviously, we all have connections. You guys can work together and you have each other's back and you know what you're going to get from each other. But if you're hiring a complete stranger, you want to know that there's a baseline understanding of this stuff. And what you guys have put together with the workshop, I had the privilege to check it out a couple weeks ago or whenever it was. It's awesome. It basically tells people everything that they need to know. Obviously, you have to have some photography skill. You don't go from no knowledge of the industry to second shooting by watching a workshop. But if you're a talented photographer or aspiring, or people say that you do good stuff or whatever, you can always grow. I've been doing it for 15 years. I learn stuff all the time by working with people, but there are certain baseline things you need to know, like where to be for a certain shot, how to stay out of the lead shooter's way, all those things. So dive into a little bit about what the content that you guys have in the workshop. What does it cover? What can people expect if they go through the workshop?
So just like you said, definitely like the basis knowledge of how to use your camera, basic photography skills, like those are necessary to get into it. We do like a quick refresher on some of those things that we were finding our second shooters maybe lacking under the pressure. And so we kind of go over that, but all that stuff should be already in there. And then just how to conduct yourself on the wedding day. That being like,
so I mean, we talk a lot of composition. I feel like details and stuff in our photography are really important. So like Mandy mentioned, you know, going over those compositional kind of tools that they can take with them to their details, with whether they're at the grooms by themselves. I feel like that's usually the stressful part, so that they have that in their toolbox. And then we walk through
expectations on the wedding day,
and then an entire wedding day from start to finish. So from getting ready to ceremony to first look to reception, you know, we break every single part of the day down to, you know, where you should be, what you should be shooting, what questions you should be asking, right down to what you should be wearing and how to hand over your files. So it's a pretty, I think, well-rounded. We kind of cover all of the bases when it comes to every single section of the day. So it's all broken down in like little bite-sized chunks.
And then we finish it off how to like contact the photographers that you want to work with, how to find those jobs. Of course, this is where you come in.
No, it's awesome because like it is stuff that if you've been shooting for a long time, you have tons of wedding experience, you know. But I've been doing this for 15 years, and you guys shared stuff in there that I had never thought about.
Like what?
I think I mentioned this in the email. Just like having a little like kit of stuff to help with detail shots, like the ring boxes and stuff like that, where you sometimes get into a room and it's a disaster and you have to make magic in there and you might not have a ton of time. So if you come in with some quick tools and ideas or whatever to like make that a more efficient process, that's going to help you out a lot. You know, even just so like there are times where the lead shooter and the second shooter are shooting literally the same thing. It's at different perspectives. Other times you're having the lead shooter with the ladies and the other one with the guys, or, you know, partner, whatever. But, you know, it's not always a situation where every wedding it is this way. You have to have that communication leading up to the event with the person that is hiring you. And it's like taking a workshop like this is fantastic, but it doesn't replace the communication angle. And I think that you guys cover that in the content really well. Is like, hey, all of this stuff is baseline, but still talk to the lead shooter before the wedding and make sure you're on the same page about everything. Contracts and whatever you have going on there at the back end, what's going to be the expectation. Because over the past year and a half or so, I've worked with, I don't know, probably a dozen different photographers working as a second shooter just to like see what they're doing. And almost all of them do it differently and have different expectations.
Well, I feel like, and everyone has a different comfort level and everyone has their own style. And I think the main goal of being a great second shooter is being able to blend in and mesh with your main.
Being adaptable.
And, you know, again, everybody's different. I love shooting at 1.2. Lots of people love shooting at 7.1. And that's just where they feel comfortable. But unfortunately, you shooting at 7.1 isn't going to quite, you know, or 5.6 isn't going to mesh well with what I'm shooting. And then that doesn't make a good pairing. So it's, you know, just being open and honest in what your expectations are. And especially, you know, learning to communicate with a main and ask those extremely specific questions as to what they need from you. I think that's a huge takeaway for sure.
Yeah. And one of the other things I loved about it is part of the setting expectations is, as the lead photographer, when you communicate to the person that you're hiring, okay, I want you to only use primes and I want you to shoot wide open and whatever, like, you need to know that if you're the second shooter, because like I shoot with 24 to 70 and a 70 to 200 and I stay at 4 most of the day, a lot of the day. We probably won't be a great fit to second shoot with you, or I wouldn't be a great fit to second shoot with you. And like knowing that ahead of time is so important. Not necessarily something specific to the content you made, but it's like part of that conversation you need to have. So somebody that's assisting, let's say they don't have a lot of photography experience, but they see themselves wanting to get into the industry. What kind of value will they get from the workshop?
Oh, good question. I feel like with the refresher stuff, it will be good if they don't have a lot of skills. We do go into some depth with that just because we find it also applicable throughout all aspects of the wedding day. And then, I mean, a lot of the stuff, like how to conduct yourself and where to be and what to look for, that stuff, I feel like isn't coming from other photography courses. So if they are working on their photography skills outside of that, and then they want just to kind of get into the second shooting thing, I feel like there's so much to take away from the course, even if you don't have the basic photography skills.
Yeah, and I think, one thing that we really try to focus on at the end is, how to find those photographers that you want to work with and how to approach them, and how to kind of put yourself in, their little bubble of like who's available to hire. And we talk about, how we prefer to be approached, and how we appreciate, assistants or second shooters, or people that want to ghost with us, come and talk to us, and how, we like to do that. So I think that that's always beneficial as well to hear, just like how to write an email to a main photographer, how to approach someone, don't send them a DM, send them a thoughtful, meaningful email about why you want to work with them, and be open to feedback, and be open to going for coffee and sitting down and offering to take them for coffee and sitting down.
Right.
I think we do talk a lot about that. So for someone that is fresh, into the industry, I think that that's a really great first step. So I've been to that for a bit.
Yeah. So what do you mean by ghosting? I think that might be a local term to you guys.
Maybe. So ghosting's kind of like a third shooter.
Okay.
So not even like quite an assistant, not quite a second shooter, but kind of just someone that's there to observe and watch. They are there as a volunteer for the day, and it's literally just as an observer. There are times where they are, they can pull out their cameras and they can shoot, but they're not there, as a job. We're not there to teach them anything. They're just there more of as a kind of background observer to see how the day is going.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's a great opportunity to learn and just kind of get a feel for what to expect. Because listen, there are so many people that they're hungry to learn and grow, but their portfolio does not justify them being a second shooter yet. And having a workshop to go through is a great resource for that. Tagging along with a studio or lead photographer, ghosting if you will, that is an excellent way to learn. We advocate on Shoot With Me that person would be a fantastic assistant. So like if you're looking for experience and you don't have any reviews on the platform, go on, set up your profile, set your availability, make yourself available for $0 an hour, and start to work with some photographers. You get reviewed, you start to charge a little bit, and it's like a pathway to actually get paid to do what you want to do, which is fantastic.
What a great way to put yourself out there for sure.
Yeah. So regarding the upcoming workshop, tell us a little bit about that, when it is, how people can get access to it.
So the upcoming workshop is June 12th.
Yes, 11 a.m. Central
Time.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm like, what day is that? Yeah, that's a Sunday. 11 a.m. Central Time.
It's about 3 hours.
Yeah, it is a solid 3 hours of straight webinar conversation. And you can find it at wildheartworkshops.com. So just under register there, you can sign up. And it is.
We'll put it in the notes below.
Yeah, and it is online via Zoom. So it doesn't matter where you are, you can attend. We also will be recording this session. So if you unfortunately can't make it at that time, an email link will get sent out so you can still watch the webinar at a later date. So we usually leave that up for about a month or 30 days. So there should be plenty of time for anybody to watch it again if they want to as well.
Yeah. Is there a Q&A time or is it just straight you guys talking?
So we talk the whole time, but we leave it open for questions as we go along. So we are interrupted quite a bit, which we're happy about.
It's not a hold your questions till the end kind of workshop. It's a let's create an open dialogue. So if things come up for you as we're going through, interrupt and let's talk about it. Let's dig a little bit deeper because I'm sure other people are thinking the same thing. So we kind of just dive in as it comes up and
Yeah, in our in-person workshops, we really like the kind of conversation going back and forth. I mean, it helps us learn learn too, like where we need to add stuff in, what we need to elaborate on. So it's so much information for us. So we sort of just kept that with the last webinar, and I think it went well.
It was great. I also don't like talking for 3 hours straight, so if someone can interrupt me, it's really appreciated.
Yeah. Now questions can be helpful to give you something to not keep rambling about. I ramble all the time. Awesome. So if somebody cannot go to this one, like you said, you have it recorded, will you be doing other live ones in the future?
Absolutely.
I think we talked about even doing them maybe once a month. It kind of really just depends on what wedding season looks like for us. And the demand. So we'll see. I mean, we are gearing up here. It's finally nice outside today for the first time in what feels like 6 months. So we're finally gearing up and getting started. I know wedding season really started for me like last weekend. I think for you it starts this weekend, and then we kind of go nonstop. But if demand is there, then definitely
we'll get them in sooner.
We'll get them in sooner, once a month or what that looks like, or maybe we'll wait into the fall, but it's not 100% decided. Just June 12th is the only one that's in the books for now.
But we are doing more.
But quite potentially one in July, one in August. We shall see how it goes.
What's the cost?
150 Canadian dollars, so free for Americans.
So pretty much free for Americans,
Go Canada. Awesome. Anything else you want to share about the workshop or anything?
We do have a little like takeaway book as well that's included. So we just send that a PDF. I think we actually have a purchase link next time too if people want to order an actual printed one in advance. But it just sort of takes all the information we've given, but just condenses it and kind of just important tidbits and just easier to digest and to review later, so that maybe if they want to look it over before their first big gig or something, they don't have to go back and watch a 3-hour webinar. They have a nice laid out magazine with kind of the key information and things that are often overlooked and might need to be a little refreshed on.
And
that's awesome.
I think again, just the workshop, the main takeaways are, how to communicate appropriately with a main, how to book jobs and keep getting hired over and over again. And then just kind of the important key pieces throughout the wedding day as to, what your expectations are, how to shoot them, what to do, what questions to ask, and where to be. So I think that's it. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, it's awesome. It's absolutely worth watching. Even if you've been shooting a long time, it's a great resource. So I highly recommend it.
We think so. It's good to hear someone else say that.
But I feel like we're both pretty open books. Like we have no problem sharing all the things and telling anybody anything. So, we're pretty open when it comes to our businesses and how we run them. And being approachable is super important. So we try to throw a little personality in there too. And it's fun.
Yeah, it is. Cool. Very good. Well, thank you guys for joining the Facebook Live today and sharing everything about the workshop with everybody that's watching. And we'll leave the workshop details in the notes below, in the comments, if you will, and go from there. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having us.
So much.
Awesome. See ya.